sedition. And in 2007 and 2008, the U.S. Congress repealed the terminology utilized in the application of the terms sedition, insurrection, Confederate state, and modified it to a much more softer tone.
Yeah, you kind of lost me, man. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I
Yeah.
don't get it. But we'll try again sometime. Call me back next week. I got to get my guests on. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care now. 866-99 Sirius, folks. As part of a new segment we're going to be doing on a more regular basis here. One of my first jobs, and I just realized this. I was a newspaper journalist in high school, so I've been a journalist, Brittany, for about almost 40 years, really. 38 years or whatever. Why Shay look up when I said that? He's looking at me like this dude. He's looking at how old you are. Right. He's like looking for the lines, the cracks. No, I mean, how was it? So I was a high school journalist at 16 years old. How old am I now? So how long have I been doing this? So about 35 years? Huh? Yeah, I did. 35 years, I guess. And then one of my first jobs in life was writing for the Washington Afro-American newspaper. The black press has always been our pride and joy, and a historic treasure to us all, and still necessary. So why don't we talk about the black press more and what they feature and what they and we're called to do so also, because when we talk to a lot of these politicians, we wonder why they don't advertise in the black newspapers as well they should. And we're streaming now, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Join us live. You can watch this segment, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Make it plain. Joining us now from the National Newspaper Publishers Association, blackpressusa.com, the Reverend Dr. Benjamin Chavis and Dorothy Leavell. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
How are you?
All right, Mark. And, you got to get your membership dues up to the NNPA. You've been a journalist all this time. You have to be a card-carrying member of the NNPA.
I know. I got it. I got to get up to date, man. Dorothy, how are you?
I'm fine here in Chicago, and looking forward to being in Washington next week. And thank you so much for having us on your show.
Now, tell us, there's something big going on in Washington next week, right?
Yes, sir. By the way, in case you're wondering why we got two people on here, I'm the chairman of the board of the NNPA, and Dr. Ben is our illustrious president of NNPA. So just for your listening audience.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to join in with Ben in asking you to join us. You could be an associate member as a journalist. Our main membership is actually newspapers themselves,
right.
But as an associate, you can be a photographer, a whole lot of stuff. So at anything that's associated with the press. But yes, getting to next week.
Yes, ma'am.
The NNPA will be celebrating Black Press Week. Our very first black newspaper, Freedom's Journal, was founded March 16th, 1827. This is our 191st year of having a black newspaper with that beginning at Freedom's Journal. And so every year we come to Washington to honor and to celebrate our black press. And we will have several activities coming up. I don't want to tell them all. I'm going to let Ben tell some of them. But we are just extremely proud of the fact that during this time we always honor a Newsmaker of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, our Newsmaker of the Year is Kamala Harris, the senator from California. And we are just excited about that. But we have a number of other activities, and those in the Washington area who would like to participate, we invite them to do so. And we appreciate you giving us an opportunity to shout it out to far and wide of the black press. So thank you, Mark, for this opportunity.
Oh no, absolutely. It's my duty. So next week, the Newsmaker of the Year, Ben, will be awarded to Senator Kamala Harris. We were just Senator Harris and I were just together in Selma over the past weekend.
Absolutely, for the historic anniversary of the Bloody Sunday March across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. And we're going to live stream that event on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. from the House Rayburn Office Building, where the Honorable Senator Kamala Harris will be given the NMPA's and the NMPA's Foundation Newsmaker of the Year Award, the 2018 Newsmaker of the Year Award. So it can be live streamed on blackpressusa.com at Facebook.
Okay.
And so we're joining you. I know your program is live streamed now on Facebook and Twitter. And so you set a good example, Mark, for the NMPA. We're going to be live streaming. So millions of people, if you live in Washington, come out to the House Office Building. But if you don't live in Washington, if you're in all over the country, if you're in California or New York or Illinois or Detroit or someplace, you can just tune in by looking at the live stream on blackpressusa.com. And I just want to emphasize what Chairman Leavell said, that the black press is the voice of black America, Mark, as you know. And there's so much going on in our world here in the United States and throughout the world. And we have to keep our people informed. We have to keep our people inspired. We have to keep our people motivated. This is a midterm election year. We got to have a large voter turnout. I'm so thankful that so many brothers and sisters turned out in Texas. Blacks and Latinos turned out in Texas in record numbers just this past Tuesday. And Texas now has the opportunity to become a blue state rather than a red state. While the NMPA is nonpartisan, we do advocate on behalf of getting out the vote, as well as making sure that all our people participate in civic engagement. If more of our people participating, we wouldn't be in the shape that we're in now. We need more voter turnout. We need more activism. As George had mentioned, the Freedom's Journal began as an activist press, a freedom fighting press. And for 191 years, our newspaper publishers across the country have continued that tradition. So every March, and we're so glad that Black Press Week actually falls on the anniversary date. We're in Washington the 14th through the 16th. 16th is Friday. And that's the actual 191st anniversary of the Black Press in America.
Ben Chavis, President of the NMPA, National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dorothy Leavell, Chairman of the Board. Pleasure to have them both. So, Dorothy, the membership of the NNPA is primarily newspapers, correct?
Yes, that is our Class A membership. But all things and all people associated with the black press or with newspapers, black newspapers, are welcome to be associate members, where they can participate in our conventions and in our workshops that we have. We just finished a great workshop in Las Vegas, which had to be quickly put together because we had planned to go to St. Thomas in January. We ended up in cold Las Vegas. Can you believe it?
Well, all right.
But I wanted to add on to some of your comments about our black politicians. Well, all of our politicians need to talk to the black community if they want our votes. We are in a hotly contested election right here in Chicago, the governor's race. For the first time, I think we have at least 2 billionaires and maybe 3. But one, we're not quite sure. They are not forthcoming sometimes in how much money they have. But we have 3 candidates that are outstanding and have lots of money. The thing about it is I don't think that any of them have really campaigned to our black community, which is 30% needed for them to be elected. I mean, we have 30% black voters in Illinois. And I think that many of our black politicians, we have a lot of black candidates, and many of them wait until the last 2 weeks to put an ad in the paper. Of course, all of them need to be working 365 days a year in their jobs and in their participation in our communities. But they are not giving the impetus, the importance of our black press often, but they want us to help them when they need us. They're still in that mode. We need to change that.
Yeah.
And they need to be advertising. They need to use the pages of our newspapers that we don't charge for all year to get out the message and to work in our behalf. So it's exciting all over the country. I know in Philadelphia is a big heated race there, and all over the country. And I just want to commend the people in Texas for so long they have our black community have not had the strength to actually turn it to a blue state, so to speak. And so now we see a great deal of movement from there. I think that it's going to be an exciting midterm. I think that we can make some tremendous gains, but you can't do it without the black press.
No, you're absolutely right. And I would add too. I mean, you mentioned the black politicians, but white politicians need the black vote. You know, and there was some. Now I saw Doug Jones in Alabama over the weekend, but there was some conversation prior to his election where there was some criticism that he did not spend money with the black press, so we need to improve that. Now, Ben, how many black newspapers are there now in America?
There are many, but in terms of members, what we have on our roster, we've increased a little bit. We have 220 black-owned newspapers. Now, there are others that still need to join. And we reach 20 million people a week, Mark, in print. And we've also established the NNPA digital network. I just want to join Chairman Leavell, again, emphasizing the importance of all companies and all people supporting and advertising in the black press. You know, and I want to let all your listeners know, we have an increase now, about 20 to 30% young people coming back to the black press. Young African Americans, millennials are reading the Chicago Crusader. They're reading the Los Angeles Sentinel. They're reading the Houston Forward Times. They're reading the Philadelphia Tribune. They're reading the Amsterdam News. They're reading all of our newspapers around the country, the St. Louis American. And, Mark, you know, I think that it's important. We want to thank you for taking the leadership at Sirius XM Radio, because, Dorothy, we're going to be doing this regularly, bi-weekly with
looking forward to
Mark's show on the Friday mornings, where we'll give an update from our publishers around the country. This is going to be a dynamic year in terms of engagement. And also, Mark, we just signed a strategic alliance with the NAACP, between the NNPA and the NAACP. We're going to help encourage people to join the NAACP, and then the NAACP is going to help encourage all of its corporate partners and sponsors to advertise with the NNPA.
All right.
And don't forget about our AME connection as well, that the AME Church has joined with us with the MOU that we are working together in concert, and our papers will be available to many of our AME churches across the country.
Well, what about, Ben? We talked about newspapers in print, and then more of them are digitally online. You know, there are a number of black. I'm just curious, a number of black websites that have, you know, been born that are exclusively online entities.
Yeah,
are they
we want
eligible
them to join as associate members? They can join the NNPA as associate members.
Are they doing that? Are some of them doing that?
Yes, some of them are doing it. We're talking to Bradley, and also I've talked to Diddy. Revolt TV is thinking about having an MOU with the NNPA. So we're broadening our reach. As the chairman has said, anybody is in media, in communications, in journalism, in affecting the consciousness of black people, and affecting the consciousness of all progressives in America and throughout the world, should be affiliated with the NNPA.
Well, also we want to mention Dorothy Leavell, chairman of the board, Ben Chavis, president of NNPA. Folks, quick calls, 866-99-SIRIUS, 866-99-7474. And if you're watching our stream, I'm just scrolling through some of the headlines at blackpressusa.com.
Yes.
And that is the NNPA website. That's the digital component for all the black press. And each of the black press newspapers has its own site as well. In fact, Dorothy, you are not only the chairman of the board in NPA, but you're the publisher of the Chicago Crusader and the Gary Crusader, right?
That's correct. And we have a digital product called The Pulse, which we put out every day. Mark, we are changing the discussion that you just need digital or you just need print. We are starting a new paradigm that is not one or the other, but is both and. So we need the print, we need the digital, we need the social media, and we are doing that in our newspapers. Some people seem to think that we are still in the horse and wagon age, but let me assure you, we are fast contenders in this whole communication sphere. So, yes, I have two newspapers, one in Chicago and one in Gary, two exciting places to have newspapers, and certainly we appreciate the support of our communities in both of those communities, and the Crusader is well respected as well as our other publications in the area.
Well, first of all, the website for the Crusade is ChicagoCrusader.com, correct?
Yes.
All right.
www.chicagocrusader.com, yes. And we have a dual website for Chicago and Gary. But number one, we feature so many of the stories that we carry in both publications as well as breaking news. So when we used to just could speak once a week, now we are able to speak every day. The only day we don't really have input is Sunday, but 6 days a week, the Crusader, you can read what's in the Crusader, you can read what's hot and happening all over the country, right on our Pulse and on our website.
866-99-SIRIUS, 866-997-4748. Ben, I think this is important too, 26 minutes before the hour, folks, because we are in the era of fake news. Now, the president likes to project that on everybody else, that everybody else is doing fake news. But we know online and on social media, more and more, we're seeing his allies, trolls and bots and Russians, disseminating information that's just false. And, we've always been able to rely, historically, ladies and gentlemen, on the black press as a source of ethical journalism, integrity, and truth. Right, Ben?
Absolutely. We are the trusted voice of black America. There are a whole lot of people that speak to black America, but very few speak for black America. And I think that I'm glad you mentioned this, Ma, because I think one of the reasons why we are now having an increase in readership and support from our young millennials is because they don't want to deal with all of the inaccuracies and all of the fakeness and all of the subterfuge and stereotypes that have been trolled directed toward black America. So if you really want to know the truth, you got to come to the black press. You got to come to our black newspapers. You got to come to our black online news sites. And, get that truth. And see, we not only report the news, but we advocate for what's in the interest of the African-American community and what's in the interest of African people. Do you know, Mark, this is the decade of African descent by the United Nations, and most black people don't even know about it.
Right.
So we got some homework to do, and I'm so pleased. I can't think of a better organization in my tenure in the Civil Rights Movement than the NMPA to work for, because we're doing something similar, Mark, that we did with the National African American Leadership Summit. We're bringing a lot of our organizations together so we can all work together. The stronger our voices are together, the NAACP and the NMPA and the AME Church and NAFIO, the National Association for Equal Opportunity and Higher Education, representing all the HBCUs, and the realtors, the black realtors have joined with us, NARAB. We just got a lot of things, the Impact Network, out of Detroit with Bishop Jackson. If we all work together, we can turn this whole situation around, where not only we can dispel all the fake news, but we can get our people on the right path with the right information at the right time, so the overall quality of life of our people can be dramatically improved.
Indeed. The Pulse newsletter is also available courtesy of the Crusader. of which Dorothy Leavell is a publisher. It looks like from what I'm looking at, you all also have an app too, Dorothy, to download on our phones and whatnot. But let me ask you this too, Dorothy. Let's face it, the print newspaper industry has been suffering economically. How has the black press been able to adapt and continue to have the resources that it really needs?
Okay, well, we don't ever have enough resources, that's for sure. But the amazing thing about the black press is resiliency. We are resilient. We are innovative. We are committed. You see, the black press was founded, Mark, for a different reason than the mainstream press. Mm-hmm. And theirs was mainly to make money. If that was our only mission, then we would have been out of business a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But what is happening, we see this turning around. Everybody was rushing to digital only. This is the only way we can do this. And I don't mind telling you, the mainstream press, I mean, there were some people jumping out of windows, so to speak, selling buildings, doing all kinds of things. But what we have been able to do is we have taken that passion, that commitment that we have to sustain this, and things are beginning to turn around. Ben Chavis and I have been traveling across this country, talking to major corporations, talking to our communities about the support for the black press, economically as well as in readership. And so we can see the tide turning. It's kind of like that Y2K situation. Everybody kind of got all bent out of shape about that, and it didn't really happen as that one didn't happen. I would say just a very small portion of it was even a factor. But with this one, we do see new innovative ways to reach more people. And the black press is right up at the top. NNPA is developing a network that will be second to none in reaching African-American people. We're working on it day and night, so to speak, and it's because of our spirit, our mission, that we have weathered this storm. And I can only see, I feel it, I see it in our conversations with corporate people as well as our community leaders, that the black press is going to take its rightful place, that for so long it was the only means of communication through our print pages. Now we are everywhere. We're using every innovative way we can to reach as many readers as we can, because believe it or not, it is my belief that the progress of us as African Americans rely greatly upon the black press, and the communications industry would be remiss and if there was not a black press. Thank God for the black press.
Amen. Dorothy Leavell, chairman of the board of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, blackpressusa.com. See all the latest news and headlines there. Ben Chavis, the president of the NNPA, a longtime friend and brother. Donnell's in Vegas. Donnell, God bless you. Good morning. Get woke. Get ready for impeachment. You're on the air with Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. and Dorothy Leavell. Go right ahead, Donnell.
Hey, great show, guys. It's good to hear your voices and to be informed with what you guys got going on here. But I got a question for you. I noticed that on regular TV or cable, that they have they newscast people and those that they appoint in those positions. Recently, MSNBC, they lost Melissa Harris Perry, Tamala Hall. Are there any plans in the future of possibly even creating something with that platform for people of color? I mean, I'm just curious.
Well, yes. Again, the first page of Freedom's Journal 191 years ago said we have to plead our own cause. We have to set up our own distribution networks. You're absolutely right. Because, see, what happens is the mainstream press, they discard our people after using them for a while. And the thing is, everything that you may see may not be black-owned. One of the things we're proud of, Mark, is that our constituencies are black-owned. We're black-owned businesses. We thrive in our community. So the answer to the caller, yes, we are planning to do more in broadcasting the news that we print every day and every week, and that we post every day and every week. And not only in America, but our thought is, Dorothy and I are traveling all over the United States, but soon we're going to be traveling all over the world to talk about having a global black press that speaks from ownership, that speaks from integrity, that speaks, it'll be authentic, it'll be timely, and we won't have to worry about being put off of MSNBC or put off ABC or CBS. We'll have our own network.
And let me add to that,
more.
Ben. We have an alliance with the National Association of Black Journalists. Those are, where you see most of the people you would see on television, they are members of NABJ. There used to be a little division. That is so close now that we are attending each other's conventions. We're working on projects together. I think that there is the possibility, and soon, that we would have a real presence, a national presence on television. It's unfortunate that we lost our TV One with a news program, and we're looking forward to seeing how we can reconnect that, because that was important. Roland Martin plays an important part in the communications industry, and so what we are looking to do, there is that need there, and what is happening is that they are getting rid of our faces that we know from television, and I think that again, our association at NABJ could soon turn that around where we have our own. I appreciate your question. It is important that we use every means of communication to make sure that our people are well represented.
All right. Thank you, Donnell, for your call. So, folks, we're going to be continuing this dialogue with Ben and with Dorothy, and, in fact, hopefully even featuring many of the other black press publications and publishers, so you can know about them, get involved, subscribe, be supportive. Again, there's so much misinformation being trafficked out there right now. I was talking to a reporter in the black press the other day about, just how much misinformation is out there. And we need to build our own original sources of information, our original stories, cultivate original sources and stories. That's really the role of the black press. That's what it's always been. So, folks, we invite you to go to blackpressusa.com, blackpressusa.com. Keep it with the latest news. And just like the Crusader, they have an app, the Pulse. Other papers have an app. You can look at the blackpressusa.com on your phone and stay informed that way. It's very, very important that we have good information, that we share it with our friends and family. I want to thank the chairman, Dorothy Leavell, the president, Ben Chavis. Ben, one more time, tell us about the events of next week.
Yes, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. for Black Press Week, March 14th through the 16th. We'll be based at the DuPont Circle Hotel. The first major event will be Wednesday night, March 14th, up at the Rayburn House Office Building at 7 p.m. We're giving the 2018 Newsmaker of the Year Award to Senator Kamala Harris, dedicated freedom-fighting senator from California. And then on Thursday night, we have the Torch Awards. We're giving the Honorable Barbara Lee a Torch Award for her leadership as a member of Congress. We're giving Reverend Dr. Amos Brown a Torch Award for his over 60 years in the Civil Rights Movement. And we're giving Jim Farmer, who's had over 50 years in the automotive industry, a Torch Award. So that'll be Thursday night at the DuPont Circle Hotel. And then on Friday, we're capping it off at the National Press Club with Donna Brazile to talk about the state of the black press in 2018. So we got a full week, and Dorothy Leavell, and as our chairman, our whole board of directors, Mark, we really appreciate you giving us this opportunity, not only today but future days, so we can work together with Make It Plain. And I tell everybody that early in the morning, everybody ought to have their radio on to watch and listen to Make It Plain. And we're going to join you, Mark. So the link for this program, we're going to put it on all of our websites around the country after it's broadcast, so that what we hear today will live beyond today.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I'm sorry,
Dorothy. I know
Dorothy.
that you're probably the end of the segment, but I wanted to just also mention that we will enshrine 2 deceased publishers. One was Dr. Milton Reed from the Norfolk Journal and Guide, and then we have Mary Ellen Shadd Strong, who had newspapers in Milwaukee, Atlanta, and all. So it's going to be a great few days. We think that people will find a lot of things of interest, Mark, and we appreciate you giving us this opportunity to just tell the world about it this morning.
I was doing some research on my grandparents when I visited Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and found a couple of articles about my grandmother in the Pittsburgh Courier from back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And just stumbled across them. So, the black press has always been an important part of even chronicling our history, ladies and gentlemen, and keeping it alive. And I was very, very touched to see that, because I never knew about them before. I just went online and found them. So, again, folks, blackpressusa.com. I want to thank you both. And Ben, you don't need to thank me, because this is what I should do. I'm a member of the Black Press too, always have been. This is our duty. We should have done this long before now, but we're doing it now, and it's a great thing. BlackPressUSA.com.
Ma, before you sign, I just wanted to let Dorothy know that Mark and I go way back, Dorothy. We had a radio program when TV One, actually it was Radio One when first got started. And the name of our broadcast show was called Freedom's Journal.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. We did. We used to broadcast Freedom's Journal together, and it was that impetus, that show, is what was really the driving force behind the Million Man March.
That's right.
We used that broadcast to promote and organize the Million Man March. So. No, that was very, very important.
The NNPA was an integral part, and due to a large part of Ben Chavis. So, we are lucky to have him at NNPA, and we're happy that he is hanging in there with us and helping us to greater heights. It's a great thing.
Well, Dorothy, know that I'm at your service as well. Whatever you need, I'm here, okay?
Thank you, Mark. I'm looking forward to that. People who know me know I'll keep you on that track.
No, I make that offer to a lot of people, Dorothy, and they don't take advantage of it. You be sure you take advantage of it, though, okay?
I will.
Ben knows me. I'm at your service. All right. Love you both, okay?
You got a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy your weekend. BlackPressUSA.com, folks. Support the Black Press. We'll get ready to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Sirius XM Progress 127 Resistance Radio. Get woke, get ready for impeachment. This is MIP.
Okay, thank you very much.